Hey everybody, welcome to Did You Hear About This? I'm Bill.
I am Scott.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, but not as well as you, I don't think.
I'm feeling great.
I bet you are.
I am high on the hog coming back from Mardi Gras, and I loved it so much.
What's the saying? Voulez-vous bon temps rouler? Bon temps rouler? Let the good times roll?
I don't know that saying.
You didn't hear that at all week?
Oh, I heard just screaming and just screaming. It was so many.
Show us your tits!
There was a little of that going on. But the thing that you hear the most is screaming from those parades. The parades are, yeah, 100%. Give me more beads. The hunger that people have going to Mardi Gras to get beads from those floats and to get beads from balconies.
That's crazy.
They're insane. They'll run you over to get those beads. They need those beads. We even learned that there's a whole hierarchy to those beads. There's big ones and there's really tiny ones. And when we first got there, and Amy and I had a few drinks. We're at the first parade, and we're like, "This is amazing! We're getting all of these beads." And it was all these shitty ones. And then somebody next to us caught a really nice one, and Amy's like, "Oh wait, there's better beads." And then I saw the sparkle in her eye. She's like, "This is a competition to get the best beads." So
that became FOMO for her, that she had to get the good ones.
We did every damn parade.
Oh my God.
Not every one of them.
How many parades do you think there are? How many did you go to throughout the weekend?
The problem is I don't know if it's one or another. You just kind of get up and go, "Well, let's go to Canal Street," and there's always a parade going.
Really? Well, we'll talk more about Mardi Gras later on in the show. Get more into your experience, a little bit more of the history of Mardi Gras and where it all comes from. And yeah, we'll get further into that.
I want to relive my vacation already.
Oh, man. So when did you leave? You left Friday.
Yep,
right after we recorded last week.
Right after we recorded, yeah.
And you got back, today? Yesterday?
Got back on Tuesday. We actually came home a little bit sooner than expected.
So you got back on Fat Tuesday, on Mardi Gras.
Yeah, but I was wiped out. I was like, I got to edit the show. I know we're late. I know everybody didn't get their show on Monday. That's my fault. That's because I was in Mardi Gras.
Good news, it's up now.
Yeah, I finally got it up, and I was dragging ass. I was so tired. Today's the first day that I feel back to normal.
Well, I knew you weren't going to be back, so I said, "Hey, I got a few extra days to edit this show." You said, "Yeah, I probably won't get to it till Wednesday, maybe Thursday." I was like, "Don't tell me that. I'm just going to procrastinate more." But it did go up about, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago?
Yeah.
So good news there. Bad news, we're full of shit.
We're full of shit. Everything we said was wrong.
Everything we talked about was based on lies.
Gene Hackman came back to life?
No, he's still dead. That's not true.
You're talking about the Kathleen Kennedy stuff.
Kathleen Kennedy. She is retiring, but not the end of the year. She says she's going to still see through the movies that she's part of production with. So who the fuck knows what that means?
Yeah, that could be years now.
It could be.
So we just sat there and talked about her retirement, and it's not true. And everybody got it wrong. Everybody fell for it again because this rumor keeps coming up that she's fired. She's fired. And then finally it's all right, she's leaving on her own accord. And every trade picked it up. Every single one of them. That's why I was like, it's okay to talk about it. We will not look stupid.
And I think I texted you on Friday being like, "Hey, what the shit is this?"
I'm like, we look stupid.
We weren't going to put the show out at all.
There were thoughts of
what's the point?
What's the point?
The whole show's a fuck-uppery.
Yeah.
Except for Gene Hackman and that girl from Harriet the Spy, apparently.
Which we still don't know what Harriet the Spy is.
That was a Nickelodeon thing, though. We were right on that.
Yeah.
It was a good guess, a good conclusion we drew there. But I still stand by everything I said about Kathleen Kennedy. When she does leave, I don't think that's the linchpin that's going to do a heel turn and make Star Wars magically better.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, so I stand by that. So
I heard something in editing that I was kind of thinking about after I heard it in editing. I made the comment that she's been a great producer. She's put out all these movies. I'm looking on the wall here. There's Goonies and things like that. She does do good movies, but what is the difference in the producing that she did with those movies versus being the president of Star Wars? That's where I'm still not clear.
Definitely a different role. I mean, it's like that thing where they promote people up to the point where they are inept at doing their job. Like, "Oh, you're good at doing this job, we're going to promote you to this job. Then you do that job, you're good at that, we're going to promote you to this." But at one point, you're going to get promoted to something you just suck ass at.
Yeah. We call it failing forward.
Failing upwards. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, for the people that have been clamoring, I got a lot of good mailbag.
Mail, motherfucker!
I have quotes such as, "Where the hell's my podcast?"
Oh.
And You've ruined my fucking Monday routine.
Oh, damn.
And then several texts of just, no show? Question mark?
Yeah, I got a few of them too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so it's good that people... It's good to felt missed, I guess. This is what I'm trying to say. I also do have a hilarious mailbag going back to our failed fast food episode from Brother Chris.
Oh, what's he got?
Basically, while Brother Chris never ate a Halloween Whopper with the black bun, he tells me after putting his sons to bed one day this past week, he found that there was frosting in the refrigerator, and he had cookies. So he was going to take cookies and put this frosting between to make himself a little Chipwich type sandwich. The frosting he had was black. He ate about 5 of these Chipwich black frosting cookies and apparently shit bright green the entire next day.
What was he eating?
The dye from the black dye in the icing, which was the same problem that people had with the black buns of the Halloween Whopper.
I thought you were going to tell me he was eating mold.
No. It was just the dye, the black food coloring.
So he had filling that was, or
icing
that was black.
Black icing that was dyed with apparently the same thing Burger King used for those black Whopper buns.
Myth confirmed.
Now we're Mythbusters.
Yeah, now we're Mythbusters.
So that was a fantastic mailbag. A lot better than the Where the Fuck's My Podcast that I heard from others. But, yeah, good times.
Where the fuck's our shout-outs and sharing with your friends and subscribing and all that? Huh, guys?
And I will say this. The show was late, but you get what you pay for.
2 sluggish guys who eventually get around to putting out a show.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and thanks for the shout-outs and the concern with the podcast not being there as regularly scheduled.
Yeah, like you said, it is fun to be missed.
Yeah, if nobody cared to be like, Bill, what the fuck are we doing this for?
Now we got to do this forever.
God damn it. Oh, man. So what else is going on? You watching anything since you've been back? You just trying to recoup? What's new?
You know what I watched on the plane? I watched that Spider-Man cartoon show.
You did? What'd you think?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you. I was totally wrong by those first 2 episodes. I think I said on the show, like, I don't know who this is made for.
I still only watched the first 2, and I still don't know that I'm on board for it.
They do this shit, man. It's just like, stay focused on your characters. They started doing these side stories of other characters. I'm like, I don't care about them. If you fast forward past them, it's a great series.
Okay.
So it gets to the end of the show, and I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but it finally starts to become, all right, if you're a superhero fan, then this is a superhero cartoon. It just didn't really start that way. It's like, we're going to just have to endure this kid's life, popping into Spider-Man here and there, but it finally did become a Spider-Man cartoon. And I loved the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. I loved it so much. And I would say that this finally started to feel like the 90s animated Spider-Man cartoon. So I went from not recommending it to now recommending it.
Okay. Good to know. I'll tell you why I didn't recommend it. The first 2 episodes, it was an origin story for a Spider-Man that's not Spider-Man's origin story. How can we jump into a kid that's not Spider-Man yet and Uncle Ben's already dead?
Yeah, that's true. They did do that.
And that means no line of with great strength comes great responsibility, which is basically the whole mantle of Spider-Man. That was the lesson he learned from the death of Uncle Ben.
It's like every story they tell of Spider-Man has some variety, and that's the variety in this series. Like, it's just a little different than the other ones. But there's times during this entire series where they talk about things like the Sokovia Accords, like they're talking about what's going on in the MCU actually happening. So in their world, they're a variation, just like every timeline is a variation from another, but they talk about the what is it, Soviet Accords? Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
And they talk about characters like we've seen them in the MCU, so it's super MCU adjacent as the show goes on.
But they never bring in Black Panther or Baron Zemo or anything like that, do they?
I don't want to spoil who comes in.
Fair enough.
But yeah, definitely
definitely
does reveal more characters as you stay tuned.
All right, I guess I can watch it. It's only, 6 episodes?
I think it was like 9.
All right, I'm out.
Too long.
Well, I guess I'm already 2 down.
Have you tried the Daredevil thing yet.
I was just going to say, speaking of 2 episodes, I watched the new Daredevil Reborn.
Yeah, I watched it too. What'd you think?
I think its pacing is right along where it was with Netflix. I'm not going to get into spoilers, so I can't say a whole lot, but like, why bring characters back if you're not going to use them?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know? Yep. Like, the first 20 seconds.
I know. It was a little weird.
The fuck? I only saw one fighting scene. The fighting scene, the choreography was pretty weak. I didn't care for that. Hopefully they make that better. But I do really like the Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, what we saw in the preview where he sits down at the diner and he's talking to Matt Murdock, and they're just kind of talking about the history that they've had and all that. I thought that was interesting. I like that, not psychological, but that more conversational, dramatic. So you know everything they were talking to each other, that we're going to see that pay off.
Eventually. Right. Yeah, Sister Michelle wrote, she goes, oh, the new Daredevil's out. It's great. I'm like, I'm bored.
I can't say it's great.
Yeah, I don't think it's great. I'm a little bored. It is slow-paced like the Netflix, but I had a problem with that too.
Yeah,
thought that was too slow-paced.
I remember that.
So they're definitely staying true to what that vibe was with Netflix.
But I'm here for it. Like, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's just a little long.
Do I love it? I mean, I can't say I love it yet.
No. It's a lot different than the version that showed up in She-Hulk. I don't think this is, the same Daredevil at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know which Daredevil. It must. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing anymore.
And there was a character, the White Tiger. Am I supposed to remember the White Tiger or know the White Tiger? I have no fucking idea who that was.
It's an old comic character.
Yeah?
Yeah. I only know it because there was a Spider-Man cartoon I watched with my son that came out in the 2000s. And it was almost like a knockoff of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. One of Spider-Man's amazing friends was White Tiger, but it was the daughter of this guy.
Okay.
Nova was one of the characters.
Okay.
Do you remember this cartoon at all?
I do, yeah. You know who they didn't have? The Hypno Hustler, who's the name I couldn't think of last week.
The Hypno Hustler. That's right. That was the funky pimp.
Donald Glover was the funky pimp Hypno Hustler. That's the name I couldn't think of last week.
Me neither.
Or I guess now this week because of our delay, but whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. What did happen to that? I read that news story like it was a sure thing that this movie was going to be made.
100%.
They're making a show now called Wonder Man. Like, it's really being made and put out, and it's under the MCU banner. Nobody's talking about it.
Well, probably for good reason.
I wonder if it'll ever actually come out. At what point do you film like 3-4 episodes and then go, well, we got to finish it? Or will they ever go, this just isn't working, we're 3-4 episodes in? I mean, we've seen them delete movies that, Batwoman was one, right? Wile E. Coyote and versus Acme.
Oh, yes.
They will delete full movies.
Sure.
So why wouldn't they just kill the show if they think the show isn't working?
Where are they, tax write-offs?
Yeah, right. They'd rather get a tax write-off than eat the bullshit they were going to get by releasing it.
Right. They call it Hollywood accounting?
Yeah. Creative Hollywood accounting.
Yeah, and to that end, some things are better off not coming out.
Maybe finally they're learning their lesson,
Maybe.
I wasn't a big fan of them.
I'll say this. They'll learn their lesson when they stop making dog shit to begin with.
I don't know that they know how to not make bad shit.
Yeah.
Bad shit, like if you think about it, ever since we were kids, something would be great, something would be terrible, totally miss the mark. They're always like that in show business.
I guess.
I don't get it.
So tell me about Mardi Gras. I've never been there, man. The closest I've gotten to Mardi Gras is through cuisine. I travel through cuisine.
What can I tell you about it? So we stayed in the French Quarter, right?
The heartbeat of it all.
Which is a cool area. It's what you see in the pictures. It's all the balconies.
Wrought iron railings and French architecture.
Yep, and really small, tight streets.
Yep. What parish were you in?
Oh, I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
All that religious stuff, I don't know anything about all that.
Oh, though they don't have like counties or things like that. I think everything's like a parish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that probably does go back to church, though. You're right.
Well, Jackson Square was one of the big spots near us, and it had one of those really big, beautiful cathedrals.
Okay.
So maybe that tells you something about what parish is. I don't know.
I don't know.
But there were people that were selling art all over. There were musicians all over, incredible musicians too, not like shitty ones just like playing a trombone. It sounds like farts. No, they were some really incredible musicians.
So not just like your regular buskers doing their normal thing. They was like real legit musicians.
Real legit, like super legit. Like I sat there for a while and watched a few of them, and I was just in hog heaven watching these musicians play.
Nice. Did you crash any funerals?
No, I saw there were all these little parades that would pop up, side parades. There was some sort of death march that went down one street. I don't know what was going on there.
Really?
And it's like crazy because you see all these people dressed like ghouls and goblins and like white faced, like
they do dress up, man. Like
yeah.
skeleton face paint and shit.
Dude, they're all dressed up.
Yeah.
Everybody was dressed up. Me and Amy were the only ones not dressed up. Everybody was dressed up. You look down and there's like little orphan Annie, and then you look to the right and there's like the Lucky Charms leprechaun, and you look to the right and there's just some clown painted head to toe, and then you look to there's a pirate for some reason. Then you look to the right and there's somebody dressed as Superman. It's just everybody. It was like Halloween.
Yeah.
Everybody was super dressed up.
That's what I hear.
Except us.
You're just out. That's why you didn't get the good beads, Bill.
No, once we got the beads, we're like, we're just going to wear the beads, and that's how we're going to dress up. I'm wearing my flannel. I look like I'm from Berks County, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you stick out like a sore thumb.
So we went to Bourbon Street at one point. Bourbon Street's the big famous street that's, where all the flashing is supposed to happen.
Sure, that's like the main drag through the French Quarter, right?
It's right, yeah. I don't know if it's through, it's touching it at least. It's in the French Quarter part of it at least. And that's where most of the activity was happening.
Right.
So we stayed a little bit away from there because, fights and things like that. We're too old for that shit. But Saturday night, we're like, all right, we're going to march our way into Bourbon Street. And when I tell you this street was the craziest, the music was blaring. There was so much debris and beads and glass and shit broken on the street. There were fights going everywhere. There were cults coming up and down these streets.
I'm sorry, there were cults?
Cults, yeah.
Like what?
Like religious cults.
Really?
Yeah, and they would all hold on to each other and march down and be seen.
Were they protesting or?
No, they were just advertising their cults, trying to get people to get with them, I guess. Some were holding signs. There were a whole bunch of people that like to walk with big crosses on their backs and walk through crowds.
We'll get into this a little bit. There is certainly a religious connotation to Mardi Gras from the origins of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fat Tuesday, that's supposed to be the last day.
It's the day before Ash Wednesday. That's when Lent begins and you give up all your vices.
Now, we flew home on Tuesday. So the party day on Tuesday was insane. I was like, we're never getting a taxi out of here. We are never going to find our way to the airport. Amy was like, calm down. And she was totally right. We found our way to the airport. But getting there, it took like a 30-minute drive, took about 2 hours.
Really?
Because we just could not get through the crowds. There are so many people. But let me go back to Bourbon Street. So Bourbon Street, it's crazy. They're throwing the beads, the flashing. This is where it all happens. There's just chaos on this street. We finally find a place to sit down. And all of a sudden, these horses come marching through the crowd and they're like stomping people out of the way. And there are cops on those horses.
Police horses.
Something was going on. And then here's the disconcerting thing. This is new America. The military police is everywhere. It's these guys dressed in, camouflage. They're carrying M4s. Big machine guns.
Wow.
And it's kind of scary to see them. They're standing at the end of streets.
Is this like National Guard type shit?
Yeah, man.
Like military state?
It felt that way.
I don't like that.
You see them standing up on vans. You see all sorts of vehicles that are like armored vehicles. Yeah, it was insane.
Do you think any of this is in response to what happened on New Year's Eve down on Bourbon Street in New Orleans?
That was my thought, the terrorist thing that happened.
When they drove that van through, I think they killed people, 20-some people injured.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't just Bourbon Street. These were everywhere.
Really?
These guys were everywhere.
Wow.
They were scary. You bump into them and you're like, oh, just touched the machine gun. What? Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
I thought you just happened to see me.
So there was a lot of that. There was fighting. Evidently, we were on the 200 block and we read the paper the next day. I was like, what if somebody got shot? Like, what were the cops there? And it said that 10:45, 2 people got shot. I was like, that's right where we were. And we didn't even know, couldn't even hear. There was so much noise and so many people that if somebody was getting shot, nobody was noticing.
Is this just drunk people doing drunk things, you think?
I guess. You put that many crazy people together and compress them. And at about 10:45 when we were leaving, because we got home at 11, we could feel the mood change. We could feel the anger. We could feel the drunkenness getting out of hand. And we're like,
it up.
Yeah, we're like, you know what? We are definitely old. It's time to leave.
Yeah, don't be there when that fucking pressure release happens because that's when shit goes down.
I don't know if there's a thing that I've earned or acquired throughout my life. I used to love trouble so much. I used to love when the temperature was turning up that I could feel it. Now I felt it and was like, we got to go.
Feet don't fail me now.
We were literally, there was a tiny little sliver of a line of people trying to get out, and we're like, we're following that line.
Yeah, man. You sent me a video, and it reminded me very much of Broad Street in Nashville.
Times a million.
Broad Street got pretty crazy, but hearing what you're describing now, this is what I experienced in Philadelphia for the Eagles Super Bowl parade.
That's what I was wondering, too.
I'm getting some flashbacks to that insanity.
There was no way, if there wasn't that sliver of people that were getting through, we wouldn't have gotten out of there.
Yeah.
There were times where we were watching this parade, and it's like, all right, dinner's at 6:30. It's now 5:30. You can't cross the street.
No.
We literally missed dinner that was an hour away because we were going, it's time to go. We should have an hour to get there, no problem. We missed it completely because we couldn't cross the street because of the parade.
Wow.
And those parades go on for hours. So what do you do if you can't cross the street? You can't go up and down the street. It's too packed with people.
So talk to me about these parades. Like, my understanding is it kind of reminded me of, I think, like the mummers, what we have here on New Year's in Philadelphia, where there's like these, down there, for Mardi Gras, they have these crews. There's like different crews, which are these different groups of people, and they'll all have their theme, and they'll all dress up a certain way, and they'll all make their float, and they're the ones that are throwing the beads out?
Right.
But are they all part of the same parade, or does each crew have its own parade that goes off whenever the fuck they want it to?
One of the waiters at one of the restaurants we went to, and the food there, oh my God, the food's the best part of the whole thing. But we get chatty with all the waiters. So one of the waiters was telling us that the way that it works is you actually have to buy your way onto a float. Because he was like, one day we're going to be a rider again. And I said, what are you talking about? You're going to be a rider? I thought he was talking about motorcycles. He said, no, we're going to ride the float. And I'm like, so you used to do it? Oh, yeah, we used to do it. Well, what was that like? He goes, well, you spent a whole bunch of money, like a couple $1,000s.
Like
you get your
sponsorship
seat.
type shit?
He didn't really say it was like sponsorship, but you literally go to whoever has the right to have the float and be like, I want to be a rider. And they could be like, well, it's $8,000.
Holy shit.
The guy was like, yeah, we pay a lot of money to get on these things. And then you got to go and buy all of these beads, boxes of them. Then you got to pay a guy to load the beads onto the float. And now knowing that there's a class system to beads, like you got to buy a lot of shitty ones and then you buy some bigger things. And, you know, some people were just throwing out crazy shit. Like you get your T-shirt every once in a while, but somebody would throw out like a riding crop. Like all of a sudden the riding crop goes flying out. And when the boxes are empty, these guys just take the boxes and throw them out. It's just chaos. They're just throwing trash. We got hit in the face so many times by like some heavy beads or things that we weren't paying attention to. And it kind of hurts.
Gotta keep your head on the swivel, man.
And we went to one parade that was one of their better ones, and I can't remember the name of it. Most of the parade floats, they're triple decker in this one parade. So it's like people were even higher now throwing stuff at you. And you just look up at the sky. So it got
some weight behind it and some height behind it. That's just not a good thing for physics.
I mean, you're just looking up going, I'm going to get hurt. This is going to hurt. But people are just grabbing them out of the air. Everyone's competing to get all the stuff out of the air.
Shit.
And it doesn't sound that fun, Scott, but I'm telling you, it was so damn fun. It was so fun.
Is it fun or is it mob mentality?
It's both.
Okay.
Because you're also liquored up. Everyone's so liquored up.
What were you drinking?
Oh, my God. They had these slushies. I was all about these slushies.
Like hand grenades or what?
No, just like these long ass. I'll show you the cup upstairs.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, the yards.
And then you go run and get a refill. You're like, this is insane. How are they letting all these drunk people just run around with alcohol? It didn't matter what you had. They let you have it.
I think you just described the New Orleans economy.
Oh, my God. I don't think they really wanted you to have glass out there, but there were just people walking with Patron bottles just out there on the street dancing, singing.
Damn.
Weed's legal out there, so everyone's smoking. So it smelled like alcohol, it smelled like weed, and it smelled like piss.
You just described college.
That's why I liked it so much. That's why I had such a good time. It reminded me of college. It completely.
God damn.
Completely was out of hand.
That's pretty wild.
And I guess it's like that every time.
And you had no idea what to expect when you booked this trip.
I knew it was going to be a party. I just couldn't possibly imagine how big a party it was.
How long does a day last down there? You wake up at like what? You start drinking at 2 o'clock? You drinking at 11?
Not me. No. 2 o'clock I'll start. But most people, by the time we got out of our hotel to get some like breakfast, it was a mob scene already. And the hotel was overrun. People were coming into our hotel just to get off the street. So our hotel was overrun.
My God.
We stayed at a pretty famous place. It was supposed to be a haunted place. It was called the Hotel Monteleone.
I heard of it.
Yeah, so maybe it's more of a attraction for people to just get off the street and go in. I'm sure they're not all going into the Holiday Inn as much as they're going into the...
I would think not, yes.
But, it was just like, oh my God, you open the door, you're like, all right, we'll get a little fresh air before the parade. Nope, party never stopped. I mean, it's 10 a.m. and the place is packed.
Goddamn. Do you go on any ghost tours or anything?
We didn't do ghost tours. I did do a swamp tour.
You did a swamp boat?
You want to hear this story?
Oh, please do.
All right. So we end up going on a swamp tour. They drive us about 40 minutes out of town, which took about 2 hours because everything is longer now with Mardi Gras. And they take us down to the bayou. And the bayou is out by the Gulf of, I guess it's the Gulf of America now, according to Google Maps. So.
Not according to MapQuest.
Is that right? MapQuest?
MapQuest is holding out. Gulf of Mexico.
So we're out there and, you buy your ticket. They say you're going to be on boat 3. I go, fine, whatever, boat 3. We get onto this swamp boat and it's Amy and I and 3 other couples.
And this is a fan boat.
It's a fan boat. Yeah.
Okay.
And it moves fast and it makes have you been on one?
I have.
And
down in Florida.
They make a lot of noise.
They do.
They're very loud. So this guy kind of gets on. He's like, all right, well, welcome to the boat. I'm going to take you out for a ride. He's got that voice. Like
I'm going to take you on a ride.
Yeah. I'm fifth generation Cajun. Like, okay, that's cool. And he's like, this is my family. And he starts handing out pictures of his family. We're like,
really?
What the fuck?
What the fuck do I care?
I guess I got to tip you well now that I met your kids.
Now I see what he's doing.
He's like, here's me catching a fish. And I'm like, this guy's weird. What a weirdo. So he gets us.
Be nice. Your life's in his hands.
I know. That's all I'm thinking. Like, this guy's a little fucking out there. So we end up going out, and he's trying to tell jokes and get us laughing. And finally, we're warming up. We're laughing to his jokes. It was one of those situations where if we didn't warm up to his jokes, he probably would have given us a different tour. But because we were starting to go, oh, this guy's funny. We like this guy.
He's hamming it up.
We got a special tour, Scott.
Oh, no.
So all of a sudden, we're going through this swamp, and it is tight, and we see the gators. They're literally they're baby gators, and they're on the branches that are sticking out of the water. And he zips into this one area, and it's like we're swatting the swamp away from us because it's reaching onto the boat. And he goes, so we're going to feed some gators now? We're like, whoa, we're going to watch this guy feed some gators. That's incredible.
No, you're going to feed gators.
We're feeding the gators. Now, this is something we're not really allowed to do, but, everybody can kind of make their own rules down here. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to put marshmallows on these sticks and just reach out and feed the gators.
What kind of waiver did you have to sign before you
None. Zero. Not a single waiver.
Okay. All right.
My Cajun accent is awful. It's one of my worst, but I like doing it. So he's like, all you got to do is reach out here. The gators see from the side. So just kind of hang the marshmallow. And he's doing this. He's showing us how to do it. And out of the blue, a gator up a giant. I'm like, oh, my heart is beating. I'm like, this guy had no idea that this gator was going to do. But he knew. He lives out there. He's like, no. He goes, when we're done this boat tour, I'm coming back out here with my buddies. We do this all the time with a 6-pack, and we just go looking for frogs at night. He goes, by the time the dawn comes, he goes, you would look out and see nothing but reflections of eyeballs from gators. They're all over. He goes, they're just all over. You just can't see them. So he's got this one he's feeding. He goes, he gives us each a stick, and he's like, go ahead and try it. Dude, I was feeding the gators. They're jumping up raw.
It's like placid.
It's crazy how high they were going. And this guy's dancing around on the boat trying to be funny, and his feet are right next to the edge of the boat where the guy, I'm like, a gator's going to grab you, dude. It's going to happen. And we're not going to know how to get out of here. So now he's got our attention. We're absolutely just enamored by this guy. Thank you for giving us this adventure of a lifetime. But he's like, now that I got your attention, he goes, his last name was Bundy. He told us, he goes, you heard of Crocodile Dundee? He goes, I'm Crocodile Bundy. He goes into this box and he opens it up and he pulls out a knife that's the size of the Crocodile Dundee knife.
Machete?
It was huge. And now everybody's face drops we are now alone in the middle of a swamp with a guy who's absolutely nuts, and he just pulled out that knife. And he goes, you heard of Ted Bundy? That's my cousin.
What?
And we're like, we don't know if he's joking. The fun just went.
Yeah.
It just took off. And now we're like, so this is how we die. And he goes, oh, if that ain't enough, take a look, I got another. And he has 2. And he goes, and the reason that we have 2 out here is because if I have to go hunting for gator, because right now the price for gator meat isn't very good, so I don't do it. But if I got to hunt for him, he goes, if you ever saw swamp people, the way they pull them in, he goes, no, you jump on their backs and you stick these 2 knives into their backs, and that's how you kill them. He goes, that's the real way to do it.
Okay.
I'm like, he's about to do this. He's about to
God.
fucking do this. He didn't do it. Thank God. But we were terrified, but it was exhilarating. It was the most scared I've ever been and the most fun I've ever had at the same time.
My God. That's a wild vacation, man.
It was the best, and now I think we're going to go back every year. That's how much we love this.
Sounds like you were living like a local.
Yeah, it was a good time. I recommend everybody go.
Well, while you're out living the life, I'm at home just doing research. So I got some things. I want to know if you heard about this.
All right.
So Mardi Gras, I learned some things doing this research. I always thought, like we talked about, it was always a Christian thing. It leads right up to Ash Wednesday. You have your fun, then you give up your 40 days of Lent, and then you rejoice on Easter. Well, actually, the real story of it goes back before, pre-Christianity. It goes back to ancient Rome. As with many of the Christian holidays, when Christianity came into traditionally pagan or non-Christian areas and the religion switched over, they would latch onto like their local festivals and stuff to make the transition easier. Yeah, so it has ties back to the Roman festivals of Saturnalia and I'm gonna fuck this up, Lupercalia, which I'm not familiar with Lupercalia, but I've heard of Saturnalia, which was a big feasting festival holiday for the Romans.
Both of those sound like a drug that you gotta, get from a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, ask your doctor about Saturnalia today. Yeah. If you have itchy taint, please stop using Saturnalia. So, I mean, it has really rolled into this whole Lenten thing, Ash Wednesday, Fat Tuesday. My family, German history, they have Fastnachts, which are like the donuts, and Fastnacht means like fasting donut, so it's like the last sweet you have before you give it up for 40 days for Lent.
Oh, right, okay. I've heard those.
So my mom makes Fastnachts every year.
I didn't know that they were that special. I just thought they were donuts.
Yeah, well, they are, but that's what it's all about. It's supposed to be like your last sweet that you gorge yourself with on Fat Tuesday, and then you get so sick of eating sweets that you don't do it for 40 days and you don't mind it so much.
Is that the same idea with the cake? The baby king cake? Yeah.
So I have a king cake every year for my birthday. Like the past 3-4 years, Jen has made my birthday cake a king cake. Basically, I'll do a big shrimp boil every year for my birthday party, and then we'll have king cake as my birthday cake. She has a bag of about 40 plastic babies at home. If anybody needs a plastic baby for a king cake, hit up Jenna. I guess the idea with the king cake and the baby in the king cake, and for those that don't know, a king cake is a big braided cake, usually in a ring, and they usually like a white icing on it. And traditionally, the colors of Mardi Gras are green, purple, and gold. So a lot of king cakes will have those sprinkles on top. And in one slice of the king cake, there'll be a plastic baby. Whoever gets the plastic baby, some people say you have luck for the next year. Some people say now it's your job to bake the king cake for the following year. Some people say it's your job to host the party for the following year. We always say that whoever gets the baby, you're the king of Mardi Gras.
We had one king cake.
Yeah?
And they weren't brave enough to put the baby inside. I'm afraid.
It's a choking hazard?
Yeah, they were probably like, listen, insurance isn't going to let us do this. But yeah, they are sweet. They are just full of sugar.
Did you have a cinnamon one or did you have like an almond one?
Cinnamon one.
Cinnamon, they were my favorite. Yeah, because there are two different varieties of king cake. Yeah. Do you know the first Mardi Gras was not in New Orleans?
Where was it?
Yeah, the first Mardi Gras in America was in 1703 in Mobile, Alabama.
Why'd they move it?
Why they move it? I don't know if they moved it so much as it caught on other places and probably just got so much bigger in New Orleans and the tradition died out in Alabama. Present day, there are other areas in the country that have Mardi Gras festivals. Do you know where the second biggest is?
No, where?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know there were other festivals. I thought this was the only one.
Yeah. It's the most famous, obviously, but they do beads and floats and booze in Kansas City as well. I guess the question is, do you want to go eat crawfish and taters or do you want to go eat barbecue in Kansas City?
That don't sound so bad either.
Yeah, for real. For real.
I ate a lot of crawfish and a lot of alligator.
Fried alligator, or how'd they serve it?
Fried alligator, that was one way. In gumbo, as sausage, that was another way.
Yeah.
At least those were the ways I ate it. I ordered it up.
All right. The only time I ever had alligator was fried as an appetizer with like a dipping sauce kind of thing.
Chewy.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is. It's like a fishy chicken.
I brought some alligator meat sticks for the plane on the way home, and he was like, "You stink. You got to just get rid of those, eat them." So I just ate them real fast right before we boarded, so I didn't stink up the plane.
Yeah, so New Orleans is known for being the most haunted city in the United States. Were you aware of that?
I knew it was haunted. The place we stayed, the Hotel Monteleone, was supposed to be haunted.
Oh, you said, yeah. I didn't know if I brought that up then, but yeah, it's one of many historic, supposedly haunted, allegedly haunted locations in the city. Yeah.
I didn't see any ghosts.
No?
No, I was looking.
Did you go to any above ground cemeteries?
We didn't do that.
No?
We were thinking about doing that, but no, I saw the pictures of them.
Well, to tie the ghosts and Mardi Gras together, some people believe that the French Quarter is actually haunted by revelers of former Mardi Gras years gone by. And stories of ghostly figures in masks and costumes wandering the streets are a very common urban legend around the area.
You know, those ghosts are drunk.
Yeah, exactly right. They ain't got fucking time for. There's live people that are soon going to be ghosts because of how much they drank, for sure. For sure. Every year, millions of beads are thrown out during Mardi Gras. And then this story here says that significant numbers of them vanish without a trace, and some speculate about hidden caches of beads or supernatural explanations. What the fuck does that mean? I just thought people just travel there, travel home, and people throw beads away. I've gone to bars locally where they hand out beads at the door that say like Bud Light and shit. They just get thrown in the trash.
Oh, they were all over the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you were literally walking on a street of beads.
That's weird.
I'm not like exaggerating.
Oh,
they were complete litter all over the place.
So there's some facts about Mardi Gras. Like you said, the different crews. There's some very prestigious trophies, I guess, Mardi Gras trophies. The Zulu crew, I think they're called, or the Zulu Social Society. I don't want to say throw out, but there's coconuts, like hand carved coconuts.
Yeah,
that are like coconuts. They throw the coconuts.
Yes.
Oh, holy shit! Apparently, that's like one of the most treasured of trophies or throwouts that you can get.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't get any coconuts, but yeah, we saw that parade.
That's insane.
We were there. Supposedly, one of the biggest parade crews is run by Harry Connick Jr.
Okay, well, that's his hometown.
I don't remember which one was his, but his is supposed to be one of the best. And apparently, like, celebrities are on some of those on some of the parade floats, like in costume. So you never know. Could be Paul Rudd throwing beads at you. You don't know. Who knows if that's true?
Paul Rudd ain't going back to New Orleans. It's too soon to his precious Kansas City Chiefs losing to the Eagles at the Superdome. Oh,
that's got to be the worst. They put the camera on him right as he had his head in his hands, just sobbing.
Well, man, it sounds like a good trip. I don't think I'll be taking it anytime soon, but maybe I'll hit up Kansas City and take it a little bit slower.
Well, if you go there, I'll go with you. But
All
I'm
right.
definitely going to be going to Mardi Gras again in New Orleans. N'Orleans. I got to start saying it right. N'Orleans. It was great. It was the best.
Well, I think that's all the facts I have for Mardi Gras.
I think that's all the stories I got.
Well, we'll put this one out. We got back-to-back shows coming out here. Hopefully we'll get this one out by Monday.
No problem. No more vacations for at least a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say, you say that, but everyone's like, Bill's always going someplace. I'm like, yeah, I know. But I'll keep traveling vicariously through you and through my cuisine and through my nerdy reading of fun facts of historical Mardi Gras.
Nerds! Hey, it works for you, man.
Yeah, whatever. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Tell a friend. And laissez les bon temps rouler.
Well, all right.
Let the good times roll. We'll see you next week.